Actually, let's do this one.
What the Rock is cooking.
Count them 3 locations. This Pass the Rock. I'm Patrick, and as always, I am joined by 2 great men. Caesar, aka LCs.
Yes, sir.
Silent man.
Rangers, baby.
While we are on video, this is
right.
also still going to be an audio podcast as well. And Jacob, aka Bethke.
Hey, listen, I forgot about that part. Whoops.
All right. Anyway, hello, welcome, great men as always.
To our
spotlight listeners, great work, great stuff.
Ketamine.
I'm great, like I'm Gandhi. Everybody thinks I'm great, but don't look into it.
Well, we'll get things rolling. In a very busy week. A lot going on. We're all obviously in a good mood. We're all obviously in our Rangers jerseys. Caesar standing. He's reporting live from outside the park in Arlington. Obviously,
they're asking him to go away, but he's persisting. Right. He's staying there until the next game. That's true.
So yeah, we'll go ahead.
I'm camping out for tickets.
Tickets. People. Yeah. How does that work with scalpers now? I guess they just transfer them to your phone.
No, I don't. I think they just scan.
I'm just waiting for the first scalper to approach me, honestly.
I haven't. Two tickets. See, 2 tickets.
I haven't scalped any tickets at the place in a long time.
2 tickets.
It feels like a thing of the past now. But anyways, yeah. So the big story, the big news: the Rangers have made quick, short work of the Baltimore Orioles. Immediately swept on through 3 straight wins. Mostly in command the whole way. I guess you could say game 2 got a little rocky when the lead went from 6 to 3. But other than that, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. It almost doesn't even feel like it happened.
Again, thank you, Baltimore. No offense, not trying to be an asshole. It really is like a thank you. As much as I'm proud of the Texas Rangers today, I'm also just very grateful for the Baltimore Orioles organization the same way I was grateful for the Tampa Bay. Just the Rays, no Devils.
Caesar, I don't know. Any first impressions?
No, dude, that one, dude, first impressions were just like, what a fucking turnaround this season has been from last year to this year. Going from just perennial losers for 7 seasons going now to wow, hey, we're 6 seasons, and now, dude, we are 4 wins away from a trip to the World Series. This is a fun team, man. This team has so much life to it. It's a testament to, I don't know, the presence of Bochy. You get your starting pitchers, your 2 star starting pitchers go down early in their Rangers careers, but it doesn't matter. We push through. We go through a down spell in the middle of the season after having a hot start, and now the bats are firing on all cylinders, man. This is what I wanted to see for so long.
Yeah, no doubt. Honestly, last night was the most refreshing thing I've had a moment with in a while, because that was just taking that shit super seriously. Not that they weren't already facing maybe a down opponent, because I think it's easy to say there is a world where, like, you know, we get creamed in the next round, and then, you know, everyone's like, oh, the Rangers had the easy path, but I don't give a shit, frankly, at this point. The understanding the assignment in this DFW market is rare, and I'm just proud.
I was gonna say, real quick, actually. So with the Orioles, it's interesting, and this is something I almost brought up pre-show, and then decided to save for now. So only one other time in the history of Major League Baseball has a team not been swept all year and then gotten swept in the playoff series. I was just wondering if you guys had any idea at all, any guesses who the other one might have been before.
Yankees.
No, they were involved in sweeping the other team.
The Mariners.
Ooh, no. So we're talking about the San Diego Padres, 1998, 9. One of those two.
So they would have been like really good for the NL, and then they played in the World Series.
Yeah. No one was going to beat the Yankees that year. It didn't matter, I don't think. But their manager, was one Bruce Bochy. So that's kind of cool. Kind of an interesting little, twist of fate kind of deal.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty incredible. The Orioles didn't get swept all year, so that's why I kind of expected to lose Game 3. I just thought, they're going to come in and win. And some people point to they're a pretty young team. They don't have a ton of veterans and none with any kind of significant playoff experience. So that might be what happened. Also, taking a week off is not something I think anyone's used to in the sport of baseball.
Which is why we dodged the bullet, even though we look like shit.
It's hard to say. This team, especially, and
this team,
we could be finding out soon.
Next year, I can feel more comfortable.
We could be reminded immediately about what this team is, which is.
I expect some humbling.
Sometimes it's incredible, and sometimes it's the exact opposite. But it does feel like everything's flowing pretty well right now. It's good. It's good to be excited again. 3-0 series sweep. We beat the best two teams outside of the Astros in the AL in 5 straight games. I don't know. There's you could rattle off a bunch of stats and stuff, and it's great. I think for me the thing that stuck out the most obviously was the Mitch Garver grand slam, and then the Adolis Garcia home run last night was a beauty, as well as the Nate Lowe 15 pitch at bat, which he ended up getting out, but that's a full inning of work for a pitcher in one at bat.
Gods gave him a little love in the later.
Right, his next at bat he hits a home run, so you get Nate Lowe doing that.
Yeah, I guess I don't appreciate his boom stick quite as much, but I know that Bochy seems to always be quoted about it in every game.
Nate Lowe's really good, and it's fun that it's nice knowing that he's like the least maybe thought of all the big name guys on the team. It's because that just means you have a really deep team. So it's fun. It's all fun. I'm super. I can't. I've been giddy. For about 24 hours almost now.
The kid didn't have a massive game, but he still had production.
No, Carter's been phenomenal. You can't complain about a single thing. You can only be impressed and just grateful.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Who's the goat? Who's the baseball goat though? Like when you get into the most generic talk, who's get thrown out? Like, is it just Babe Ruth still?
Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Ty Cobb,
bro.
I mean, people will talk about Griffey and Bonds for sure.
Okay, Griffey for sure is who I would
want. Tony Gwynn's going to get some mention.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would put Pudge in that conversation.
And I think Evan Carter's not far behind.
Evan Carter could be. Shohei Ohtani is definitely now part of the conversation. Trout.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That is nice too.
Trout's been talked about, but I think the injuries kind of have derailed any of that
in his team.
Realistic talk.
He's just
no. If he was just healthy through all that and just cranking out numbers, people would still be like, yeah, Trout. Because I mean, Tony Gwynn was on a bunch of terrible teams.
That's what I was going to say.
Terrible teams. It doesn't really matter. It's not the same in baseball.
Yeah.
Gotta
win titles.
Because you play 162 games a year, so it's like, all right, we know how good you are, even if your team wasn't that good. It's not like 16 football games. It's like, well, maybe this quarterback was good, but he's getting a lot of junk stats, just weird stuff like that.
Fair.
What's up, Caesar?
No, I was gonna say, when are we going to acknowledge the real MVP of this playoffs run? I know who I'm talking about. It's Scott
Max
Stapp.
Scherzer. Scott Stapp. Yeah, the Rangers. I'm trying to remember who started it. I think Andrew Heaney started it when they were playing poorly in the locker room. He just started blasting Creed one day and just kind of, lighten the mood. And I guess they just kept doing it. And then someone eventually told the reporter about it. The reporter tweeted it. All of a sudden, everyone's talking about it. The Rangers plan it out. They get a sing-along going. Creed's tweeting about it, saying "Go Rangers." It's an interesting phenomenon. I'm happy it's happening, I guess. I don't really know. I'm okay with it.
Listen,
As long as the Rangers win, I don't care. I don't care what's happening in the out. Yeah.
Sports dudes need little funny things.
I'll blast Creed. It means we win.
Yeah, that's fine. There's lamer things. I think it's better than claw and antlers. So, especially when I think the antlers might be representing some sort of performance enhancing substance.
Yeah, but good for Nike for
can't prove that though.
On that
Can't prove
instantly.
No,
pimping
the
out
claw
those
and
shirts
the
to
antlers
every
on
academy.
Yep.
I did want to talk
Hopefully
about the fan base a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because I saw multiple tweets that were in two different tweets that were significant in this regard. So I think it was Shan Sheriff was the first person who actually got some traction because it was early in the game and nobody was moving around. I also don't know if that's how you pronounce his name either, but fuck it. He's one of the DFW radio guys, has been for fucking ever. But he was like taking a video of just everyone set down in the first inning and shit. And I was a little disappointed. I was a little annoyed by it. I was like, all right, I also have seen a lot of DFW sporting events where this is the theme, and there's plenty to bitch about when it comes to the Cowboys in this regard. So it's obviously a little bit of a thing to poke at. I just wanted to say one thing in defense of Dallas fans, because they got loud as fuck towards the end of this, right? As soon as the things blew up, they blew up. I think
we would treat a World Series differently. We're just not. Success. We're not the town. We're not the town.
In clutch moments, success in clutch moments we're afraid of it. It's been, dude. It's not 2011.
And just to build that rabid fan base, we have to sustain success for more than 2 or 3 years. You have to be constantly competitive to where people are expecting it, I guess, is right.
Yes.
And then
I'm just saying the pessimism in DFW is rightfully
apathy.
Yes, and it's fucking rightfully just thick as the fucking fog in the Houston sky. You know what I mean? Like we are all miserable humans trying to pretend like the end is close and it may never come. You know what I mean? And the Rangers last night took something seriously, and I think that was nice to see. Like Evan Grant's tweets by the end of it, where it was fucking clear that whole stadium didn't have a whole lot of people sitting around and being quiet in it. I think, like I said, I just think there's a lot of people that just don't trust a fucking thing here. And
it is emblematic of emblematic.
Emblematic.
I'm not gonna remember. Thank you. Of all of Dallas sports, you're right. I mean, you see it at Stars and Mavs games where we've said it before, the people who come in the second and then leave in the third and all that. Just different. And I've never been to a playoff basketball game live, so I don't know what that arena's like for that. Hockey is a little different for playoff because people are actually going insane. It's just a party. The whole day is a party.
Never know when you're gonna throw a White Claw on the ice.
Hopefully those days are well behind us and we never have to remember it outside of when we make the playoffs and play the Knights again next year. And that's what they keep running on every ESPN thing.
Yep.
Just like Rangers Game 6. So
facts. Nelson Cruz, get ready.
And hey, so another fun fact, the Mitch Garver Grand Slam, the second Grand Slam in Rangers postseason history. Obviously, the first was Nelson Cruz, 2011, walking off the Tigers, which is also the only ever walk-off Grand Slam in postseason history. So fun stuff. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
I had to listen to that game on a ESPN radio through the ESPN app way back in the day in the back of a Abercrombie and Fitch while I was doing like a late night restocking session.
I also was listening to that, but I can't remember through which app. It was some radio app, but I was definitely listening to it. My sister was at the game, I listened to that entire playoffs because I was not living somewhere where I had TV or internet for a couple months. So I listened on my phone.
Yeah, that was right before I got to the Dirty D and had access to all that. Well, I think we had one DFW channel that goes to Waco at the time that we did. I don't remember who. I think the Fan broadcast in the morning in Waco or something. But anyway.
Yeah, that would be where you get Rangers, or at least now. I don't remember back then. Probably it might have only been on 1080.
I used to really rarely listen to it. It would just be like before school, like at 7 a.m. And it's like I can't sanely listen to music this loud without a reason.
Yeah, so we're just now kind of waiting. We're waiting on Houston and Minnesota, who are actively playing as we record. Houston ahead 2-1 in the best of 5. They're up 3-2 in the top of the 7th right now. So if Houston were to win, we would go to Houston on Sunday. And that'd be game 1, Sunday, Monday.
It's got to happen.
Houston. Then you'd get Wednesday, Thursday in Arlington. And look, I'd be happy with either. The Twins would be fun from a different standpoint. Both us and the Twins were former Washington Senators. The DC teams that abandoned DC.
Both of them were Senators?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's impressive.
I believe they're actually technically the third and fourth iteration of the Senators, although one of them wasn't actually officially one of them wasn't associated with the MLB at all, and the other one got like bought out or something.
That's it's funny though. I think the only NBA franchise with that same issue is the Washington Wizards, but there was 2 different versions of the Baltimore Bullets.
All right, people. It's
yeah.
Thank God they solved gun violence by changing their basketball team name, though.
And Houston, got to count Houston on that. They both did their part.
Oh, Houston did theirs way early, though. Like they did a long time ago.
When did the Colt 45 stop happening? I guess that so it would have been before.
The Astros were around in like the 70s, 60s. So
okay,
it was early. Yeah. It was very early. I think probably when the Astrodome opened. Maybe that's why they did it.
Bullets changed in like 96, which still kind of feels.
Was it even that? I thought it was later than that.
Late?
But I might be
wrong.
If
it's later, it's 98. It's
like
before the 2000s.
For some reason in my head, I thought it was when they got Jordan, but maybe it was a little before then.
Nah, it was 2-3 seasons before it because they still had like Juwan Howard in that group.
Yeah.
But
anyways, yeah. So
Wizards.
That's kind of what we're just doing now is we're waiting to see who we're gonna play, which is good. We get to rest up. There's rumors that Max Scherzer could pitch if necessary in the next round, which would be crazy, absolutely insane. I don't know if y'all saw the video of him and what's his name?
Andrew Heaney.
Oh, can you not pull that shit up for the viewers too? That's beautiful. Well, I did want to say a couple of things while you pull that up. Buy you some time. Number 1, #Uvalde strong. I want you to know that. Uvalde strong. Secondly, I think we might be one more series win away from me seriously being worried about buzzers and trash cans myself. But that's a good problem to have. Just saying. This is like I said, what I said earlier, the Dallas sports fan base, we are terrified. We don't believe in success is possible here anymore. The soul of our lives has been ripped from us consistently. 2011 has been a long time. It's gonna be hard to believe. They can hold up the trophy, and I'm waiting for the fucking Baxter only report or whoever.
Here we go. Right.
Oh, beautiful. Take that shit to the face, boy. Gives it as good as he got it. That's just dudes being boys.
That's the face of a man who's taken something in the face many a time.
The follow-up to that is deciding game, whatever it is in the series, we're up, we're down, whatever. Scherzer or Gray for the start?
If it's I think in the next round, I don't think Scherzer's starting any games.
Okay, so you don't even feel like they would bring him in that desperately, like just to
I think
wait
they would
till like
bring
if it's a
him
deciding
in.
game, they're like, fuck it, just
I think they would bring him in like a long relief situation if they
Okay.
needed to.
Okay.
If another starter wasn't going to go, I think. I don't know where he's actually at, so
Well,
I
that
have no
sounds
idea.
plausible too. I was just trying to get carried away, you know.
No, I hear you.
Well,
It'd be fun.
He
It'd be absolutely fun if he's ready for
So-
that. Yeah, they do it, but it
yeah
just depends
earlier
on where he's
today.
at.
Yeah,
ahead.
earlier today, I overheard him on an interview, talking about how today he was going to do a simulated game to see how many innings he could potentially go in a start. It sounded like he's expecting himself to start, so we might get to see
This
him
could be
play
it, man. He could
at least
literally
the
just
first
blow his
couple of
arm out trying to win a
innings.
title for us. That's dedication.
I don't think he's going to do
That'd be a
that.
hell of a way to go out.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if
don't
we
want him to necessarily, but I mean, if that was his choice, like I wouldn't be that surprised either. Fuck, like I'd want to retire at some point too.
yeah,
Go out in a blaze of glory. That's kind of cool.
don't disagree. So I'll probably have to release some kind of separate thing to break down whoever we play, whoever we're gonna play, because we'll know before the next time we record.
Might know very soon.
So
no, Caesar just fell in the hole outside of the Rangers ballpark.
I built up the whole of space time in the globe. But no, I was gonna bring something up. If the Astros are our opponent next week, we do have a gentleman who's a fan of the Rangers that was born in enemy territory who is willing to join us.
Oh, is he from? I didn't know he's from Houston.
He's a Sugar Land boy, right? Am I remember that correctly?
Yeah,
that's
true.
We had a lot of Houston guys, so sometimes I might.
Father of the Year candidate, Mr. Tyler Owens.
Yes, Tyler Owens, Sugarland, Texas, Mom Fro,
Sugarland,
Dad Fro now,
Dad Fro
official.
Dad Fro. So, he's in the running for Rookie of the Year in fatherhood. So,
yeah, I guess that's true.
Get us some insight.
He might be Father of the Year.
I hope that he gets to have this miracle of a child and championship.
Also,
that would be a great year for Monfro right there, or Dadfro.
Yeah, Dadfro. We got to evolve him like a Pokemon.
All right. Well, I don't know that I have too much that we really need to break down on the Rangers, just outside of saying how excited we are, how fun this has been, that we should all really appreciate it. Coming off of 2 years ago being one of the worst, probably bottom 3 seasons in the franchise history of really bad seasons. And they've invested, and these contracts are actually working. Corey Seager is actually worth his contract. Corey Seager, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. He walked 5 times in one game, setting a playoff record.
Had a nice snag defensively too at one point last night.
He got walked 9 times in this series, which is an LDS, a league divisional series record, passing Barry Bonds by 1 from 2003. Which is that the year the Giants didn't go to the series that year. It was the year before. But still, yeah, passing Barry Bonds in anything is pretty cool. Corey Seager should be in the running for MVP, and he should get first place votes. And if he doesn't, I'll be very sad. And
when does the voting? Do you know when the voting actually takes place? Because that's interesting timing. I like it because the NBA always gives the regular season awards out.
I assume they turn it in before the season's over, but I don't actually know. I don't think I think they're supposed to do the whole playoffs don't affect it type thing, but
so they probably just vote on it like as it is, and they just don't release it until a certain point.
The question is, was everyone paying attention to what he was doing? Did he miss too much time? Did Ohtani miss enough time? And did any of the Braves probably also do it, which they probably do?
Yeah, Ohtani's a tough case this year, but I mean, I get it.
I mean, he basically played 2 seasons, like a season.
I get it.
Of 2 people.
But like also the rules are usually supposed to be skewed against what he, the second half of his season. But at the same time, I get it.
But yeah, anyways, that's Seager's been worth every penny, and I don't know that I've ever been able to say that about a high paid athlete on any of my teams.
Hey, Beltray was worth it. He wasn't that high.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Yeah, he didn't get the kind of
maxed out.
Yeah, the $250 million contract. Yeah, pretty incredible. I'm hoping Simeon hasn't been bad by any means this series. Just quiet compared to everyone else. I think Caesar might be dying.
Sorry, I didn't know I could change y'all's titles.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Look under your name.
I saw.
Oh, that's amazing. It's kind of wild though.
I already had a Creed reference in there though. So
it's gonna be chaotic. I know, but this one's a little bit more on the nose.
I'm guessing I could pull y'all's permissions. We'll find out.
Don't do that, Daddy. No.
Anyways. Oh God. Okay.
But I do want to finish this before we get past it. We don't know who we're gonna play, but we do want Houston.
I don't know about one. I mean, I'm fine with
I want Houston
for different reasons. For different reasons,
I'm about narratives.
For different reasons, I'd want both teams.
No, fuck that. Yeah. I'd rather take the harder route. I'd rather take the interstate rival. I mean, I'd rather be the ones that dethrone. Or hey,
Minnesota goes back and wins this series. I don't know that playing them is an easier route than playing Houston.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that, but there's no narrative and storyline there for me. So it's fine. Maybe it's, the way it needs to be or whatever. But at the end of the day, I would like to either dethrone Houston or get another lump under the chins, maybe a more hard-earned lump than the regular season went, but like a lump that this Rangers team can pick up on, and it will be the fuel for the fire,
Yeah, no, I mean, if we play Houston, that's going to be huge for the overall rivalry.
How many titles did they get allegedly?
What, two? One or two?
They won two with the Short King.
For sure,
I think so. I believe so.
For sure, too. 2017, and then recently in 2021, right?
They went to another one and lost it.
So really, all I need is for them to just not get the.
Yeah, they lost.
And even if they do, that's fine.
Oh, was it the Braves? No, I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to get more. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to see the Rangers pull off 3 now. If it needs to be 4, we can get 4. I'm being greedy. So if this has to be another learning lesson year, I'm fine with that. I need one Dallas-Fort Worth team to live up to its potential, and this is the closest I've seen them come in my adulthood, because this team is both talented, it's paid for, it has a foundation to succeed in the future. Anything can happen in sports. I'm just saying, like, I don't have the looming Jerry Jones-ness or I don't have the Mark Cuban-ness or even just the NBA world that can be so chaotic that it's almost hard for any team to succeed.
No, and then even though the fan base is, remember all the times that we failed, this isn't that team. And it doesn't have, like you said, there's no Jerry, there's no Mark Cuban holdover. So it's none of that is attached to this team. It's just in our heads. So that's nice.
And baseball dudes seem to prioritize and like compartmentalize the work balance thing the best.
You also have, you have to at bat. It's so much different. I mean, obviously in games, it's all in any sport, you have to do this, but in baseball, it is like you have that pitch to pitch. You have to just reset, start over each time.
Yeah.
A bunch of times a game.
It is an interesting mentality. It's definitely not the same as football where you have to have just so much more. There's just so much more that, like, I don't feel like you can, like, maybe some special positions, but I feel like in football, you can't just show up and be good at your job. You kind of need to get your shit going and flowing. Basketball dudes can just dribble themselves into it in the first quarter of games, shit like that. Baseball does it. That's why I suck at it, and will always suck at it. My kids are ever good at it, I'd have to be like, sorry, someone else has to teach you because this stop and go shit ain't for me.
As a more sprint type runner, I really enjoyed playing baseball a lot because
I can run bases. I just can't hit or field, and that's problematic.
Yeah. There's not really a spot for you there.
I can throw, but not hard. I I could throw accurately at like 55-ish miles an hour. That's respectable for a couch potato.
All right. Well, I don't think there's anybody else. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else big to mention. Obviously, I did say it, but I want to say it again. The Garver Grand Slam was pretty cool with his bat drop, just a bat drop. And then El Bombi with his kind of not really a bat toss. It's like a bat toss, I guess. Not really a flip. That
Did
was
you
great.
have a favorite social media posting about that one? Because I did.
Go ahead.
There was a post showing the starting pitcher of the Baltimore Orioles and some significance and relevancy with the current events of our world. And then someone reposted that. No, fuck that. Retweeted that with just the video of El Bombi just fucking nailing that bitch and walking off with it. So that's what the internet's for.
Interesting.
That's what the internet's for. I didn't make it. Did I like it? Allegedly. I guess we'll never know.
Well, on that note, I'll go ahead and hard transition away. Brief. I should give more on this, and I'll probably have to record something on this myself. Just to mention that the Dallas Stars season does start tomorrow. Similar to the Rangers who just joined this club. They're a North Texas team that's been in the Final Four of their respected sport in the last 3 years, as have the Mavericks, as have the Wings.
As have not the Cowboys.
And there's one missing, and we'll get to.
Well, there might be two because we're just always fucking. So we're just not going to talk about FC Dallas. Fuck them.
They've also been.
What?
That's
yeah,
true.
They were in a conference. They were in a conference semifinal as well, or a conference final. I mean, conference final.
When did that happen?
It might have been the COVID.
We do have some talented kids. That's good. See, Jerry, fuck you. Anyway. That's later for the show. That's later.
They might be a little further out, but they were in one in the last 10 years for sure.
Yeah, that was what that one person was like. Yeah, somebody was inaccurate on their tweet earlier, but yes.
That's the only one that's a little bit longer away, but still a little more recent than 1996. Anyways, so the Star season starts tomorrow. Just some brief notes. There's some pretty cool models that a lot of people look at where they, run 100,000 simulations that have predicted the Stars are the second most likely team to win the Cup this year, which is not a number that we've put up ever since they've been running these kind of numbers. We are a legit Cup contender. We've pretty much only gotten better, I think, as far as we haven't really lost a whole lot. And
is there any roster changes that are even notable?
We got we had a signing. We had Matt Duchene, Nils Lundqvist, who was kind of in and out last year, and then ended up playing quite a bit at the end. He's a younger guy on the D line. He's supposed to have taken some big steps forward.
Okay.
They seem to highlight him more than anyone else as far as talking about guys who improved in the offseason. So to me, that sounds like it's more than just when they say someone's in the best shape of their life and stuff. Like if they're singling someone out to say this one's actually doing a lot better, I'm like, okay, he must have really stepped up, which will be cool to see because that's where we need the most help is on the blue line. But anyways, we'll get into more of that as the season goes on. I'm looking into when I'm going to go. I'm thinking in January there's a Jake Ottinger helmet replica night that I might like to get in on. But that's that. Fun team, and I'll be beating you down with it more once the Ranger season's over, which is hopefully not until November. So yeah, I think with that,
Jason Robertson MVP campaign starting now tomorrow.
Yes, please. I'm gonna vamp for a second, or I need you guys to vamp for a second while I.
All right. Well, I'm happy for the Dallas Stars hockey team. We're gonna see a puck go through a goal multiple times this season, and we're gonna have a good year without any issues. No issues at all. We're going to have all of our best players act like nice gentlemen through every playoff series, no matter how difficult.
Yes, sir.
That's the Dallas way, okay?
Damn
We want
right.
to show these people a little Southern hospitality. So that's what we're going to do.
You know, speaking of the Dallas way, you know, I want to just say something about the Dallas way. It's infectious. It's taken over everything, including our Canes out here down the DFW. That's right. If you didn't know about this, I have just switched locations now. I am in front of
Oh my God.
the Post Malone Dallas Cowboys Canes. That's right.
You should have posted your live
Right
photo
here
you
off
told me.
Northwest Highway in Dallas, Texas. It's
That's
right across from the
beautiful.
Chili's that I always meet my dad at for lunch.
That's
I was
amazing.
like, oh man, I wonder where this could have been, where this could be built. And then I realized there was a Cane's not too far from my house. I'm like, oh, don't tell me that's the one that's getting renovated. And sure enough, I pull in Chili's, meet my dad for some lunch. I'm like, oh, yep, there it is. That's the one. So now I'm here. Who wants a Caniac combo?
That's beautiful.
Hmm?
I want a Caniac sub the slaw, extra fries, sweet tea, no ice. Thank you.
Caniac, lemonade, done.
All right.
All right, now we're gonna play around with this.
Word.
Where I do
I got you.
this. What? Point. How do I?
Wait, where are we
I
going?
don't know what
How do
you're
I
doing.
change who it is?
Oh, there we are. It's back to me. I see me.
I don't know how
I
to
don't
change
know,
who it
but
is.
I see me. I see the star.
Oh, there we go. All right. Bethke, be ready, because here I'm gonna pass the rock to you.
All right.
What if I just intercepted?
Wait. Oh shit.
No, there we
Whoa.
go. Oh,
All
Try that
right.
again.
look at that.
Try that again.
Smooth transition.
Very nice. Ready to go with the weekly Hoopla boys. Actually, we
Anthony
should stop
Fantano.
by. Stop by. Stop by.
Is past the round.
All right. Let's start the weekly Hoopla with a little bit of sadness. RIP to Brendan Malone, former coach of many teams, most notably the bad boy Pistons defensive coordinator, aka the pioneer of the Jordan rules. Also the father of Mr. Michael Malone, Denver Nuggets head coach.
Oh,
So obviously very sad news there. He actually, I want to talk about the positive of this because there's a couple of reasons, right? Obviously, he just got to see his son win a title. That's really cool before he passed. And then in the summer league, they actually had Michael come and accept a Tex Winter Lifetime Achievement Award on behalf of his father, who actually, like I said, pioneered the Bad Boys defense. Was an assistant coach for a while. I believe the other notable thing is Brendan Malone was the original Raptor coach. A franchise that I believe began in 1996. So literally an entire franchise has come and won a championship since another franchise has even been to an NFC championship. Yeah, I'm getting in on the jokes too. This fucking thing. But yeah, that sucks. RIP, Mr. Malone. And obviously, I don't know how long the Nuggets will be without their coach, but Rick Adelman's son, David Adelman, is their coach for now. So coaches' sons all over the place until Mike Malone returns. Another piece of sick-ass news that wasn't in our rundown that happened after I made it. Miles Bridges got in trouble again. So this one is pretty simple. He's already had his court date with the DV charge, the thing that he's been suspended to start this year for, that he missed all last year for. This situation is a warrant that's been issued for his arrest, with the alleged details being that he smashed a car window of the victim of the DV case, of said DV case. That is the nuts and bolts legally. What we can expect now from the NBA side is another suspension, whatever you would whatever. I mean, honestly, at this point, they're probably going to have to wait for him to turn himself in.
What was his last suspension? How long was that?
Yeah, so that's really the meat and why I want to talk about it. So let's remember the John Morant thing here before I get into this, right? So John Morant had, a very light suspension the first time he was flashing the piece around, right? Then what did he do, right? He did it again. Now he's suspended to start the season. Well, Miles, after spending that year unofficially suspended and away from basketball, got a lofty 14-game suspension to start the season, I think.
Okay, so they only gave him 14, so they'll probably go to either a half or a full season at this point.
I don't expect him to play basketball for the Charlotte Hornets this season or any NBA team. With this today, unless there's some massive misunderstanding.
Do you think they can just they'll just hit him with the indefinite?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the same thing because it's gonna be basically he basically violated his probationary terms or whatever his legal agreement was. As a result of that.
Be a restraining order, right?
Yeah, I believe that's exactly what it was. So he violated that. Now he's got the warrant out for his arrest. Unless he's going to go on the fucking run, he'll turn himself in. He'll have to defend himself legally, whatever that is. I don't give a goddamn. But ultimately, my thought is that the NBA will probably just be like, well, the Hornets will probably both, separate them, whatever, indefinitely kind of be the same way they were. They already showed us what they're going to do. They did it last year. So I think that probably just gets a continuation. But I brought it up because Primo just got back with the 4-game suspension, the weak-ass suspension. We still don't even know what's going to happen to Kevin Porter Jr., all we know is the Rockets just simply are not going to have him a part of the team in any capacity. But I guess maybe they're waiting for a day to cut him, involve him in a trade, so there's another team can cut him. I don't know. We'll see. Just an alarming amount of these situations popping up in the NBA lately. Adam Silver has not responded to them in the most ideal way, I would say. And so it's interesting to see how they respond to this Miles Bridges situation. Also worth a note that Charlotte just had to cut Kai Jones officially today as well after his 2 or 3 week long escapade all over the internet acting a fool and calling himself the GOAT and demanding trades and quite frankly being too hilarious for his own good. Yeah. So if you guys want to rip on the NBA or the league office, you can now. If you feel like this is business as usual, I get it.
Yeah, that's tough. Caesar, do you have anything immediate?
No, this strikes me as business as usual. Huh? Oh yeah, I'm having connection issues, so I'm coming in late to you guys, huh? No, I was just saying that it just seems just sounds like business as usual from the league office. I don't think the league would have done anything where I would have walked away thinking, yeah, that's good job, league. I'm like, no, it's a sad situation all around. And that's all I can really say about it, honestly. But I guess we just move on. The league moves on. The franchise will have to move on. And yeah, that's all I got.
Well, sadly, I'm sure he'll still have another chance, even if it is a year away. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Yeah, Patrick, did you have anything you want to go on with it?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't really know. I guess it's just no one's ever. Before we had social media, you just didn't know when guys were going crazy in their personal lives. So now we're just seeing it in real time, which is too bad. But I don't know what else to say about it other than hopefully at least one of these guys gets through to him and helps him out to be able to experience and appreciate the position they're in.
Yeah, no, I think that's a thing that maybe all professional sports struggles to some degree, but it is something that I think that is probably the easiest thing to hate about the AAU system is that it doesn't feel like it's producing like the perfect, most functional human beings all the time. Like it's kind of enabling kids in a lot of bad ways too. And I don't know those guys' situations entirely, but it is what it is, especially with Miles, because there's just so much history with all his shit at this point. So we'll see. To a guy, we'll transition to a guy who is problematic, but only in the right ways. is in the ways that we like in sports. Mr. James Harden. I snuck this in because there's really nothing to say here other than all we know is officially the Clippers are the only team trying to pursue him, and that there's a Mexican standoff between the two guys or the two teams, and they don't want to budge over Terrence Mann. They don't want to budge over draft picks, whatever it is. I don't really care. It just seems obvious that either the Clippers are doing business or Harden is the sixth man of the Sixers to start the season.
Do you think there's any chance someone like where we thought Dame was obviously going to Miami? Do we have a third team that might swoop in and just be like, just so the Sixers can just be like, all right, we'll get this out of here?
Not yet. That could happen if they did bring him in at a six-man capacity and just kind of show him off and just track through the beginning of the season, maybe. But it's all the big guys are reporting the same thing, that it's just that the Clippers are literally just stopped. They've just stopped offering because they're like, who are we bidding against?
Yeah,
show us, prove it. It's very different from the Dame situation in that regard.
Okay.
So yeah, but yes, I do think that it's possible that would open up if Harden was to accept a role as a sixth man to start the year. I mean, maybe they would start him, but honestly, I think if he did play, he would come off the bench just because, you know, they still have to figure out a starting rotation moving forward and all other good shit too. So yeah, that's the thing. There is some talk about maybe they're just trying to the Clippers are trying to move a pick that could get into another couple of assets. It's a lot of stupid shit that none of us care about, but mostly it's the Clippers or nothing at this point. And my only other opinion on this is I actually don't think the Clippers should do this at all. Despite the obvious James Harden stuff, I think that this team's actually pretty close to competing. I think Russell Westbrook, given a full season, can really help this team in ways that they need desperately to get through a season. Obviously, they have massive caveats with the health of their two star players, but they have such a good group. They have tradable contracts that are guys they don't necessarily need or even kind of want at this point, which is why they're trying to get this Harden deal done. I don't know that I wouldn't just try to do I would try to go into the season with this roster as best as I could, figure out what needs to be supplemented, and then move on from those pieces with the contracts I currently have and the assets I still have, because they're also basically, you know, maxed out of all those things. Like if they go all in on Harden, they're going all in on a championship this year, next year, whatever. It's a very small window, but they're pushing the chips in pretty hard, and that'd be risky. The next thing to do would be Joel Embiid. Mr. Joel Embiid did pick the Team USA representation. Of course, Grant Hill keeps saying that nobody gets to say they're on Team USA. There's 12 spots. We don't have anybody. Like, it's him or Bam. It's probably both of them. That's probably the big rotation for Team USA. Joel is following Hakeem Olajuwon's footsteps of not playing for his native homeland and choosing to play for his adopted homeland. His choices were Cameroon and France. A lot of French people are upset about him not necessarily doing this. I've got to be honest with you, though. I didn't know exactly the situation. I'd never looked into it, but he's literally only got French connections because of colonizing.
I mean,
so it's like,
I think it's going to work that way for a lot of guys.
Right, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be mad at Joe for that. I wouldn't play for France either.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So like,
it would stand to reason that there are a lot of guys in that position.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that situation, Cameroon, obviously, they have not qualified. They also have not been eliminated. So I guess that's more of he just didn't want to have to deadlift a small country like Luka, like Giannis, like those other guys.
Yeah, I mean, not one that
It's unfortunate, but for Cameroon, because it would have been nice to see them have that. But at the same time, Team USA is definitely looking like the Goon Squad, rounding up into shape for next summer. So that'll be fun. The next thing in the topic, the WNBA is expanding first to San Francisco officially. Team not announced, but it will be owned and ran by the Warriors team. So
you think they're just going to play in the same arena?
Yes, I am sure of, which I really love too. I think San Francisco, you got a better shot at doing that than you do here in Dallas.
Are they somewhere weird like Ventura or something stupid? Like not actually, are they actually in San Francisco now? The Warriors.
The Warriors are, yeah, they're in San Francisco proper. Okay. Yeah,
I knew
they're
they moved out of Oakland. I wasn't sure exactly if they landed in. Yeah,
they basically
landed
built
somewhere
the
else.
stadium just like Miami has it, and they're like right off the river or right off the body of water and shit. It's fucking beautiful. Klay Thompson actually drives a boat to work. That is actually true. And then a second WNBA team will likely be announced. I don't know when. That will be most likely Portland. That's only a rumor at this point. There's a lot of teams, Austin being one of them, which is bullshit. Houston had the comments, and as much as it's fuck the Astros, fuck the Texans, fuck the hockey team you're probably going to get eventually, it's really more fuck that Austin whatever is, because Houston comments deserve to be back, and I'll stand by Houston with that. We'll see what that actually comes into. That transitions me to the finals, which a quick update is pretty much being dominated by the Aces. The first game was a pretty competitive feel-out game that Kelsey Plum essentially not deadlifted, but she was the deciding factor in game one. Tonight, I obviously am doing this with you guys, so I'm not intently watching, but this game did start off in a very negative way for the Liberty, where they were down like 19-4 or something when I was looking down earlier. It's now 41-19 approaching halftime, or actually, no, there's still 9 minutes left in the second. But yeah, so the Aces clearly trying to flex their muscles and prove that there was never two super teams and that they're just the all-time WNBA team. And we talk about chasing ghosts with LeBron and what I just said about the comments. That's what they're doing here, man. They're chasing ghosts and they're chasing a history that a lot of people don't even necessarily know about anymore. But when the WNBA began, the Houston Comets they started right off the bat with probably the greatest WNBA or women's basketball team ever, as a design, to try to get people interested and all that good shit. And that's kind of gone good and bad in a lot of ways. But now here we are with the Aces, and it looks like they've put together a hell of a dynasty. And I know if they go through and sweep this series, which is the best of 5 series, that would be a pretty good way to prove that the Liberty still have quite a bit to do next season. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing I wanted to mention was our mystery topic for today. Just wanted to put you guys on the spot. Don't know if you guys heard the story about a Philadelphia blogger. Got fired from his job for voicing an opinion about a current world affair.
You've never heard of him?
Jackson Frank is who it is. He's actually been that's who I followed it a long time, and it's basketball only. I don't think he does any Eagles stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I didn't figure reading a bunch of Sixers beat writers, but maybe he is.
I didn't even know that he was just a Philly guy necessarily, but or maybe that was just who picked him up first, or however. But he had been someone who's been around NBA Twitter for a long time, so. Yeah, he posted that we can't get fired from this because it's not technically a job. So you guys want to pop off? Or are y'all feeling good?
I'm good. I'm good.
Let me see if there's any nightmare music.
No, I'm not going to poke that bear, but I thought it was worth noting, and then I just wanted to.
Interesting, and there's other ways to voice the opinion that he wanted to maybe try to voice, other than the way he did it, which was reposting something from your.
He just retweeted it and was very firmly on one side.
Yeah, and then also used poor English, and yeah, it's just a thing. But there's other ways to do what he was trying to do if you are concerned about your job.
Yeah, that's very fair. All right, well, that's
Burner
pretty much
accounts,
it
baby.
For this part. I did have the Texas two-step. That won't take very long. Do you want to do a little transition into something else with it? Or do you want to just go how you want to roll with that? We can talk about the Mavs and the Spurs.
Yeah, I know what that means. What do you mean?
Do you want to just jump into a different segment, since that's like the Hoopla is kind of something else? And
yeah, we can do that. I'll make that look better.
All right. Well, we're gonna just give me 2 seconds, and this will be where you can cut it anyway. And I'm sorry. Hello. Welcome to the first Texas two-step of the season, the 23-24 NBA season. Today, it's Los Spurs to start off with. I don't know how we're going to do who's going to go first in this every week, but maybe we'll just do it by records because that'd be funny.
Yeah.
So the first team, but we're all 0-0 right now. Okay. All I really wanted to talk about is just to preview, get you guys like understanding some of the things that we need to look at for Los Spurs this season. Right. Number one, obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard. There's a giant monster playing for the San Antonio Spurs now. He's pretty good. And what's even more incredible is you can still see he's visibly far away from what he will be, which makes it even scarier. First game against Chet, first official game. He did have a little summer league love, but first official game.
These aren't official games either.
Yeah, these are more official for me, at least because like the minutes I get, I get to see a little bit. And he played hard. He did not play like it was preseason game.
I don't want to derail you too much, but it does annoy me every time they're like, "This is Wemby's NBA debut," and then in 2 weeks they're gonna be like, "Tonight, Wemby's NBA debut." It's like, all right, come on.
I know, and then you get the technicalities.
That's why I get annoyed by it.
Remember the technicality, the Blake Griffin technicality, because he got hurt in his first preseason game, his NBA debut, but he technically didn't make his NBA debut until the next year, and then he went and won Rookie of the Year over John Wall that year, I think. Anyway, that's just.
There's probably been worse. He didn't play a single game in the regular season. He's still a rookie.
Ben Simmons is one people don't love.
Yeah. I knew there was one that people were always crazy about.
But I thought Ben Simmons was in.
And that just looks worse and worse in hindsight. So.
But unless you love preseason, because if you love preseason, you love what Ben Simmons already did. But we're Los Spurs podcast right now, not the NBA. Los Spurs. All right. Victor Wembanyama played great. Had one of my favorite quotes to start. I think this was before the first preseason game for sure. I think this was as training camp was actually opening. He says, it was. It was as training camp was opening up, his first interviews. He goes, media day, I think. He goes, "You need to work hard to be great, but you also need to rest great to be great." And I rested good.
Mm-hmm. No.
Pop already has this kid on the quote machine. Like, he's already got him figured out. I love it. Pop also had a fucking hilarious quote talking about winning is good, winning is useful, winning is necessary.
I love Pop.
I think something like that. Anyway, as you were saying.
I was just kind of giving you I was hype manning Pop.
Fuck yeah, hype man Pop. So yeah, now we get to have a Wemby versus Chet Holmgren storyline for you guys. If you don't know or remember, these two faced off against each other in a U19 tournament 2 years ago. It was notable because this was the game that big boy Kenneth Lofton Jr. Famously not punked Wemby out, but he definitely showed that Wemby's, got some deficiencies because of his skinniness. And essentially, France was about to upset our team, led by Chet Holmgren, and Kenneth Lofton just basically took over by backing his big old ass into Wemby a bunch of times and handling the game that way. Wemby's grown a lot since then. He will continue to grow. That's just more or less a love for Kenneth Lofton for that. What might be his greatest NBA achievement or his greatest basketball achievement. We'll see if the Grizzlies play him at all this year.
You hope to have one of those beyond your 18-year-old season, but
yeah. Well, he was, or yeah, I think so. Yeah. He's a talented player. He's basically like a modern Charles Barkley without the elite athleticism. You know what I mean? So like a big kind of thick, shorter power forward.
Not a great 2023 basketball player.
Maybe. I don't know. 2023 is very malleable. It's just do you find the right person that can fit you in with the right parts? And I don't know if Memphis is that situation for him, unfortunately. But when you play hard and you play smart, I see a lot of dudes overcome that. A lot of deficiencies to become useful that way. But yeah, so it was nice to see that Wemby Chet story start to play out. Obviously, a lot of KG, Tim Duncan images all over all the main media. Literally anybody who covered this story basically tried to compare it to that, which was pretty funny since, felt like the Dirk Tim Duncan one was a little more natural. But if you remember, the Tim Duncan KG one was a bit more contentious because it was a little bit more opposites thing than obviously Dirk and Timmy being kind of similar people.
Yeah, and being similar in that they aren't antagonistic or
yeah, it was really it was just because KG was who he is and Tim was just. It was also because like Dirk was, I'm sure, fun to pick on at the time, but Tim was always you've always heard as being annoying to pick on, right? Because Tim just was this fucking stone face ass dude who it was his trash talking was very crap. It was very Kawhi like too, right? Where Kawhi will just be talking real subtle shit about about you, not like real shit about your mama, not like Gary Payton stuff, like just or like one of the things I heard Kawhi says a lot is whenever someone says that he misses a shot, he's like, that wasn't you, that wasn't you, that was me, all me. Shit like that. Just like really funny, weird talk. Like where it's kind of like, are they talking in their head but out loud? KG did that, but he did that very violently. Not a lot of other storylines to come from this team. Cutting Reggie Bullock was unfortunate but necessary. There probably will be some more interesting moves to be made throughout the season. Maybe not before camp. Fell into that hole again.
Oh no!
Caesar didn't.
Too much maniac, man. Too much.
He found another hole. Oh, there's holes everywhere at DFW.
Caesar didn't like seeing that the Rangers.
Yeah, have you looked at the roads, man?
Is it over? Is it official?
I'm excited for that.
Oh, fuck Houston. In San Antonio, we like the Rangers because I'm a San Antonio fan and I speak on behalf of San Antonio. All right. All right. But no, so
I can confirm as a Spurs and Rangers fan that
thank you. That's all you need to know. Sample size of 1, that's plenty.
I don't want to watch the Twins be sad. I gotta turn this off real quick. Okay. Watching silent sad baseball players is not how I want to spend my night.
That's fair. You can watch silent sad WNBA players.
Unless it's the Houston Astros.
That's true. We'll hopefully see that. Well, not silent. If they're Houston, I will not. That should be on max. Anyway, mostly the starting lineup looks like it's going to be Trey starting at the guard, Zach Collins starting at 5. Your holdovers, Devin Vassell, technically a holdover, but did miss most of the year last year. So that is kind of getting like a new piece back in a way because you got just a small sample size. Or as was it Skip Bayless? I got a taste, but I want the whole thing. Whoever that viral clip is. I don't remember who said that, which talking head actually said that. No, I think it was Kellerman. But anyway. Ultimately, the biggest competition for the starting 5, Wemby being at the 4 also, is Keldon Johnson or Jeremy Sochan. Sochan? What is the
I always pronounce the hard CH, but I don't think that that's actually correct. But
I always hear people say Sochan on TV, but those people can be wrong a lot. That happens from time to time.
I don't like that this is just this stupid view.
Yes, that's fair. Go to my website. Actually, I've got it written out on there. Go to fromthejump.net and go to the NBA page. It should be easy.
Plug fromthejump.net. Why is it?
I think that's available actually, and I would love to see if it actually pulls up like it's supposed to.
One second.
But anyway. That's going to be the biggest decision. My guess is that Jeremy gets the nod starting at the 3, where Keldon can be the bench player. Go to move around at the bottom. Go to NBA. And then throw that bitch all the way at the bottom. Is that too small?
I've got some website design stuff to talk to you about. Here we go.
And then you have it just right here. I have a lot of other little things going on in here. But there we go. If you want to just lay that out. That is not everybody on the roster. The Mavs are a little bit on top of that.
All it did for me was this. Okay.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
That's why I said I don't know if I can make it. you can do any differently on that? Oh god.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to actually read that from here. That's okay.
All right. Well, we tried. I can change something on that too. But anyway, mostly I've got it written down here too. So Trevion Graham, Doug McDermott, those guys I think will be veterans that you'll probably see through most of the season. I don't know that they'll necessarily need to trade either one of those guys. I guess that I would probably say that McDermott if they needed to. But mostly those seem like good, cheap enough veterans to keep around for now. My boy Charles Big Mouth Bassey back from injury. Looks like he'll be the backup 5, maybe even the starting 5, depending on Zach Collins plays. Seti Osman has had a nice little preseason start. Really looks like he could be one of the biggest pluses for this Spurs team. And
He's been a fan favorite for sure. Yeah,
he just
people are excited about Osman. I don't know if it's going to catch on or not, but
well, he's got a lot of talent, and I think that he kind of got lost in the Cavs shuffle a little bit. And I do think that he kind of pointed it out himself. I think the Spurs were his number 1 pick because he knew that this was probably the best place for him to actually develop and continue to be an NBA player because he really is a little bit on the fringe right now. Like Seti honestly probably could be a starter for a team overseas somewhere and be really good. And so I'd like to see him stay in the league because he is a talented player and a good role player. I think he could be a high-level role player for someone that's good. And it's nice because if it is the Spurs, he has a little bit of time to still grow into that role before they really need him too. The biggest thing, though, to look at for the Spurs will be the guards. Whenever they drafted both of these guys, they already had Primo, which obviously now it doesn't matter, but at the time it was kind of weird. But Malachi Branham and
or did they know?
Yeah, Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley, in my mind, are a little bit playing for the future of the team. With Branham having probably a pretty good head start because I think he's more of a combo guard than Blake Wesley. It'll be interesting to see ultimately who's going to end up kind of getting more love in that world. City Cisco, I don't have listed on my thing. He's kind of an outside shot at being useful. I feel like they'll probably slow develop him, though, if I'm being honest. That was another one of the rookies. I don't know if they drafted him or not. Can't remember. But either way, those are kind of the names. That's probably the depth of the rotation right there, if I'm guessing. But yeah, so
Until they bring in LeBron James and LeBron James Jr.
That's possible. We'll get into ceilings and we'll get into projections next week, but those Spurs certainly have the best looking team they've had and good Lord knows how long. I guess 2017, 18.
Yeah, it started to drop off once Tim left. And
then the
started to drop off before Tim left.
Yeah, Kawhi's 18-19 is the last year with y'all. I know 17-18 is last year with the Spurs.
We should mention though that I will be in house in 2 weeks from tonight to see the actual debut of Victor Wembanyama versus the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, let's go.
Which this jersey, man, really.
Does this mean you'll be streaming in live?
Huh?
Probably not.
Oh,
I might take some video, but I doubt I'll be streaming it live from the top corner.
Listen,
here, let me see if I can actually pull up where my seats are so y'all can understand how bad this is going to be.
Hey, we talk about the Mavericks on this podcast. I don't give a goddamn about the Spurs and their old dynasty. Wemby's a bitch, and he's too tiny. Luke is the GOAT.
You sound like a Fort Worth Mavericks fan. Mavericks fan right there.
Immediate heel turn. Yeah, so we'll talk about the Mavericks while you look up your tickets there, so we can have times.
Yeah,
it's consistent. So the Mavericks have
Absolutely.
won exactly 0 of 3 preseason games. Count them, 3 preseason games. The first one, they came out looking like absolute trash.
One of them against a non-NBA team.
Second one, not so good either, but a little bit better. Third one has a lot of stuff we need to talk about, but not too crazy. Just maybe some breadcrumbs of Luka asking out next year. Nothing crazy.
Crazy enough.
Nothing crazy, right? I'm keeping everything happy for the Mavs fans who, at least can always look at the Rangers for a little bit of hope and wisdom. Hopefully the Stars, as they're going, you know what I mean? Maybe the Stars could be the inspiration for the Mavericks as they're playing. So, as much as I want to talk about how the team performs, well, look, one thing I can say, Derek Lively looks amazing. I'm really excited to see Derek Lively, even though I'm sure there will be plenty of times that he's frustrating and that they will have to go to their reserve 5 because of foul trouble. I'm happy to see him learn. I think that the Mavericks need to just put his ass out there and just let it happen. That's not the worst.
I mean, it's as far back as it gets.
That's not the worst.
No, I've never been into the Spurs. I've been in there, but not for a Spurs game. So I've never actually got to see a Spurs game in San Antonio. So for a couple reasons, I'm pretty excited, obviously.
And the best thing is your best player is literally the tallest human ever. So
right? Like it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, which one's Wemby?
Although, man, the way he flies down the court, you really like, is that a 7? Is that dude that big? Anyway, we don't talk. Fuck the Spurs, bro. Fuck the Spurs. This is a Mavs podcast now.
Yeah, I'll be watching Luka from that seat.
So Luka Doncic. There was some stuff here. Actually, let me finish the rookies thing. So Omax got the start in the first game. Omax has not looked good offensively, mostly. Defensively, he looks like a nice elite prospect, but probably still awful at rotation. It's hard to really pick him out when the whole team had some pretty bad defensive showings as a whole. That being said, I still like Omax. I just want him on the bench now. Josh Green is more than earned his right to start, I think, at this point. He doesn't necessarily play positionally like you want him to, but he's strong enough. I think he can get you by. But ultimately, this kind of gets back to you need to pay this dude or you need to trade him as well. I know that's a little extreme, but this is kind of the stuff the Mavs have been shitty about in the past. And that really, I feel like, could be ultimately the undoing and the consistent undoing if Luka does ever decide to leave, is that there's sort of this really hard bridge to cross where they're happy to throw a bunch of money at broke-ass KP, but, they're reluctant to pay Jalen Brunson a salary they know will be basically chump change within a couple of years because of the cap. You know what I mean? So this team they've operated on a weird level. That being said, the reason why the Real Madrid lost, and that is who they lost to in the last game. I think that was yesterday. Am I getting my dates right? That one wasn't
yesterday here or yesterday there, or
that too, right? I think it was here during the day yesterday.
It's only 6 hours.
Yeah. So here's the issue. It's not necessarily that the Mavs lost, although that gets annoying because I've already had to deal with all this fucking bullshit all summer. So thank you, Mavericks, for fucking continuing to let me hear the world talk about how bad the NBA is with a bunch of chain-smoking ass Europeans that are about 5'8". They're fucking funky asses. Anyway, I'm tired. It just gets on my nerves. Hey, all right, I don't mind the smoking cigarettes. I'm saying if you're a professional basketball player and you're telling me you're the best in the world and you're chain-smoking still, hey, we already had him. What was his name? And even in the Euro leagues, they don't even like his ass because Milos Teodosic, because he's so bad on defense. He's like fucking Pete Maravich on offense, passing facade, amazing player. This dude doesn't give a fuck about competing on defense, and they say it's literally because he's still chain smoker and shit like that. Like, it's just funny to hear that kind of shit because that used to be the knock on dudes in the 80s and shit. Anyway, that's beyond the point. Either way, so thank you, Mavs, for opening that wormhole into Twitter. That was awesome. Fucking assholes. But really the issue here for the Mavericks is Luka mysteriously re-aggravated an injury that no one knew about. at the time. He had the hamstring stuff, but this was like a different thing. It also happened randomly to practice the day before their first official like practice they've been able to do since they've been doing so much publicity stuff for this trip. That seems plausible. It got reported right before the game. It also has been reported since the game that Luka wasn't exactly happy with this decision. He did play about a little under 5 minutes. He was amazing, literally amazing. He made every bit of that 5 minutes work. He looks great too. I should definitely say that. Looks like the best shape I've ever seen him in for sure. Literally, it's kind of
it's just funny because that's what they always say about everybody. It's just a cliche, but I understand.
It is, but for him, it's the one kid I care about. It's the one guy I actually give a shit about when that happens. Yeah, so it's not. I mean, because this is the same thing Nikola had to do. Nikola was kind of a little excessive, and then Nikola got it immediate. You know, he didn't change his body completely, but he got it to where it needed to be, and it looks like
he. Just a brief aside: did he actually say he wasn't excited to be back?